It's like it wants people to come in.
Haunted is an immersive theatrical show that we've been devising for a couple of months now.
It's a sort of interactive, immersive haunted house at Petersham Town Hall.
It's based on this idea of a haunted house, but we're exploring kind of archetypical stereotypes of girls and guys and what it means to be a girl and guy, especially what stereotypes have evolved over age and which have stayed pretty much stagnant. So it's going to be interesting for the audiences to experience that on foot as they walk through this massive old building.
It starts off with the premise of a kind of ghost story, and suddenly they become a little bit possessed by the space.
The work is inspired by the space and draws very heavily from it.
We're doing a show about the haunted house because the whole hall we're doing it in, it's really old, really creaky, everything squeaks, nothing really works in here.
The atmosphere of Petersham Town Hall is really creepy. This huge, eerie, empty space that has so much character.
It's a really old place. I think they used to hold events here, but creepy events like dances and masquerade sort of things, like Eyes Wide Shut. There are a lot of mirrors and reflective surfaces, windows, echoing. Everything's very retro. It feels like a cabin in the woods.
This space groans, it creaks and it moans and doors slam after you've said something particularly creepy, and you're just it's not what I wanted at 7 o'clock at night when it's dark and there's wind howling outside. But yeah, it's quite alive, ironically.
Being in space has given a lot of clarity. It has a lot of history itself, but also being so vacant, it has a lot of stories to tell. And in spaces you wouldn't expect, a bathroom or a hallway, but we just get this drumming that starts. Yeah, it's pretty freaky.
The space has a voice, and it's always creaking and moving and rattling, and it's beautiful but terrifying. It's just always speaking because it's an old building. There's knocking that comes from within walls, which is probably just the drainage.
It's probably just the drainage.
I think my favourite part of the process has been seeing how responsive all the ensemble members are to helping and building on others' ideas and being really encouraging with it as well.
I get a bit anxious and nervous with certain things, so I'm learning to break through that. That's been really cool for me. I'm learning how to do that in front of other people.
It's been scary, it's been spooky, but it's been really fun because the idea of horror is a really interesting and kind of subversive thing to work in now. It's like tuning the way you think about stuff in a different way.
Refreshing to be led by creatives that have such diverse ideas. It feels structured without being rigid. It's been pretty rad, to be honest.
For an audience member, it's going to be like nothing they've probably seen before if they're used to going to, traditional sit down, watch some people sing some songs and then clap. It's going to be very much a choose your own adventure, and so hopefully they'll want to come back and choose another one and see all these different people and different stories that we're telling.
We feel like it's theatre for people who don't necessarily enjoy theatre, so we're trying to give an alternative experience. The audience has a lot more involvement and engagement with the story itself.
Yeah, you can be scared of typical paranormal ghosts and stuff, but I think what is even more interesting is kind of just delving more into what you're scared of about yourself and what comes from within.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely loved it. Glad I brought a friend because it was very scary.
I kept thinking I was going to be jump scared, and then sometimes I did, and sometimes I didn't.
Yeah.
So
it's a really nervous state to sit in.
Yeah. But it was a nice nervous state.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought it was really great. The atmosphere was really well done, especially the soundscape throughout the whole thing.
Some of the very confronting scenes, they just handled it so well, and the moving around the place made you feel a part of the performance, which I really loved. That terribly, terribly confronting last scene was just incredible. And I like the fact that it then moved into a softer, so you sort of left with taking a breath.
The show was unlike any other theatre show I've ever seen before, and I've seen a lot, but being a part of a really immersive show was something completely different, especially when you can't intervene when such horrific things are happening. It really puts you in that bystander feeling, but I cried, I laughed, I screamed. It was something totally different. I've never wanted to be in a show as much as I had been. I was watching as an audience member, but I wanted to be in it and be a part of it, so it was really great. And well done.